Warning. This podcast may contain spoilers from whatever TV show or movie is mentioned. Please listen at your own discretion. Welcome to Viewers Anonymous.
Yo, what's going on? I am Scoots Bronson.
And I am S. Foster.
That's right, and you tuned into another episode of the Viewers Anonymous podcast, where we give you our very own takes and reviews of TV and movies straight out of Hollywood. What's going on with you, my guy?
Man, you know how it be. Same shit, different day. You know, just out here trying to make a buck, man. You know what I'm saying? Putting the work in. Also, within putting the work in, man, watching a lot of content, man. So can't wait till the second episode of the week, man. I got some shit. I got some shit. Yeah, man. So but yeah, man, but definitely excited, man, to be back in the lab, man. I'm feeling pretty good. But how about yourself, man? How you feeling?
I am elated, brother. I cannot complain, man. I don't have no complaints in life right now, man. I'm getting to do everything that I love to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm just happy, man. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know how you get those little fits of happiness. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of people say, you know, they get them fits of depression, but don't nobody never talk about just the fits of happiness that they go through. You know what I'm saying? I just been good. I ain't gonna complain, man. Everything been great. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
I'm out here living life. I get to watch movies for a living. You know what I'm saying? TV for a living. Who can complain about that?
Man, listen. I am so happy to hear that, man. Because
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? I generally care about your happiness. And it's not really just it's not just the podcast, you know what I mean? Because it flows better when we both happy or, you know, things like that. But I'm just meaning like generally like as a friend, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's great to hear that, man. And I'm gonna tell you something, man, like the last couple of days, man, I've been really good, man. Like I had, you know, a really good weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, but I mean, but like you said, like, you know, it's just sometimes where you're more happier in, you know what I'm saying, certain spurts, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's funny you say that because like, yeah, I've been pretty happy the last couple of days, man. You know what I'm saying? Especially because of, you know, something that we already talked about it, you know what I mean? I ain't gonna really talk about it on the pod. Last week didn't go according to plan for me.
Right.
You know what I
mean? Absolutely. But you know what I'm saying? Things work out for the best, man. That's how it's supposed to be. And to me, man, the best part of it all, bro, is that, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, you get to watch TV and movies, and all these other things. You know what I'm saying? For the fun of it, bro. This is what we do. You know what I'm saying? This is who can be mad when, you know what I'm saying, you got to sit down and watch a movie for research. Like, it's great, man. You know what I'm saying? It's awesome. I'm gonna tell you when it's gonna get better, though. When it's gonna get better is when we start getting tickets and for premieres and start getting you know what I'm saying, the DVDs in the mail to do the, you know what I'm saying, before they come out the theaters and get to watch them early. That's when it's gonna get real good.
Or the link. They can send the link too. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I actually do. I went as far as like I didn't go down a wormhole with it, but there was a few things that I looked at, like you know, qualifications of being like a movie critic and shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you know, it was just something that I had, you know, just peeked in on real quick. But yeah, like this, yeah. But it's definitely fun to do, man. And TV, documentaries, all types of shit like that, man. Appreciation episodes that we do on here, man. Like all that shit, man. It's really fun to be able to have a platform to sit down and really get a lot of my thoughts off. You know what I'm saying? Deep thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, because like you can't get certain things off of certain people. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And like the things I'm able to get off, like when we on here, yes, can't complain about being able to do something like this. You know what I'm saying? A passion that we both have when we able to do this shit for fun. So
absolutely,
you're definitely right about that.
And the best part about it all is that, you know what I'm saying, because we have such different tastes, is we get to explore and discover new movies that we would have never watched before. Like, I don't know how many times a movie would come out and I'll be like, man, I'm never going to see that. And then now when I look at it, I'll be like, I might have to go see that because we might have to cover this. You know what I'm saying? Like I probably spend like maybe 20 minutes a day looking at movie trailers like that's coming out or some stuff that's already out that I haven't seen yet. I probably spend like 20 minutes a day looking at like just nothing but movie trailers.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. And then because like my algorithms, like on Facebook and Instagram and shit, because of shit that I may like or shit that I may click on and stuff like that. So a lot of that shit just pop up.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, I'm able to see. I watched a new trailer for. I sent it to you. I can't remember. I think I sent it to you on Instagram. I sent you one with John David Washington, and he got a new movie coming out.
Yeah, it's oh my god, what is it called?
I forget what it's called, but I remember sending it to you.
Creation.
Yes.
Creation.
Our creator.
Yeah, that looks.
No, the creator.
It looks amazing.
Yes, that shit like it's gonna be really good.
Yeah, so, I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, so that's where I see a multitude of my trailers at, man. Just being on the gram or on Facebook, mostly the gram. I don't really be on Facebook like that. But
don't nobody be on Facebook but old people, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. I get on Facebook just to tell people happy birthday, and then I'm out of there.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? I go down a few posts, and then like I get on the birthday trail, tell people happy birthday, and then like I might scroll a few more, and then I'm out of there, man. I do a drive-by on Facebook. I can't mess with Facebook.
Man, to be honest with you, I put up reels, and you know what I'm saying. I posted shit on our one page, and that's really about it, man.
Yeah, I check the messages for like VA podcast, and then like I look at the post for VA podcast. Sometimes people try to like put another thing, man. Listen, if you are a part of the VA podcast group. Please, if you are not talking about movies or television, please do not post your podcast. Now, if your podcast is about movies or television or a movie that's come out or something like that, or is movie or television related, we are more than happy to share your podcast amongst the group. But please, if not, please don't post that. I hate going to delete other people's podcasts only because I know how hard it is to try to share your podcast amongst others. But if it's not about movies or television, please do not post it. That's all we ask.
Yeah, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with it because like I know like certain groups that I'm in, like they like it got to the point where even they are reading the comments.
Absolutely.
So it's just like they have comment approval. So if so it's just like I can't even really do what I used to do. Like 2 years ago, like I could post like our podcast in like comments that is similar to what they're talking about, but it's just like they just want to accept your shit. So
it's coming to the point to where, and this is just a problem with the Facebook well, I'm not even gonna say Facebook, the Meta platform in general, where everything is bots. I don't know how they found out how to do it or what program they're using, but now everybody is using bots. So everything is bots. And then if it's not bots, it's some kids from the Philippines or India or something, and it's just like they everywhere on Facebook. And I'm like, and Instagram as well, because like I get 5 fake followers a day. And I have to literally block 5 accounts a day. And I'm like, and not even on the VA podcast. I'm talking about just my personal account. And I'm like, listen, man, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all trying to find ways to find people and scam people or just, you know what I'm saying, build a following so you can sell the page or whatever you're doing. That's cool. But just come on, man. You know, the whole bot thing, they gotta fix that. They got to find a way for you to, and even if you got to start putting your ID on stuff, we got to find ways to start verifying these things, man, because this is getting out of hand. Because I mean, like every day I'm going through 5 accounts, and then like not on Facebook, on Instagram, it's so obvious because it's like they have a name and then it'd be like 17 numbers behind it, or it'd be like period, underscore, period. I'm like, fam, nobody is putting this on they actual. If you're gonna use a bot, make your bot realistic. That's all I'm saying. Come up with a clever name for the bot. Maybe you'll fool somebody then, but you're not gonna fool me with Adriana blank or underscore young 7227. I know that's a bot. Or Willie dot rogue or something like. Come on, man, it's too much. It's starting to be overwhelming. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and stop sending me shit. Talk about how you work for a digital department and you can promote my podcast and all this type shit. Man, get the fuck out of here.
Absolutely, that's another
Stay out
thing.
My DMs.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody wants to promote the page that you are trying to promote, even though you're sending it through somebody who's supposed to be a digital marketer for that company and blah blah. You're not a digital marketer. This company probably don't exist, and 9 times out of 10, the stuff y'all selling ain't real. Like we've caught on by now. Come on, man. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah. So, hold on. Oh, never mind. That's the Flash trailer. I'm tripping. I can't wait to see that. By the way, the Flash is gonna be fire. Even though dude is out here doing some freaky deaky stuff. Yeah, but I might have to watch that on bootleg. I don't know if I can support that. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna have to watch that on bootleg, man.
That shit gonna be on HBO Max in no time.
Either way, as long as I don't pay for it, I won't feel as bad. So the first time I watch it, I think I'm gonna have to watch it on bootleg, just cause. I'm interested to see how the sales go with that too, with the whole situation. But that's another, you know what I'm saying? That's for another episode. This episode, we are covering the Netflix series Echoes, starring Michelle Monaghan, Matt Bomer, Karen Robinson, Ali Stroker, and a host of other people. This show is pretty much something you had put up on the list. And I will say, once again, bravo. You know what I'm saying? You come through like, you know what I'm saying, LeBron James sometimes, brother. I don't know whether you're gonna dunk it. I don't know whether you're gonna shoot it. I don't know whether you're gonna pass it off, but I do know it's always gonna be a bucket. I will give you that. This show is amazing. For the most part, this is my first time watching it. I believe it's your second time watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't know what's going on. Okay? I don't know. I'm not for sure of what's happening in this show, first and foremost. Second, this show was brilliant. Michelle Monaghan did her job, and I believe her last name is Monaghan. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, please, y'all forgive me. But she did her job. I'm talking about from beginning to end, start to finish. Every episode, she showed her behind. This was a class in acting, man. Like the fact that she literally had to play 2 roles, and this is something that we just talked about off air before we started. But the fact that she had to play 2 roles, not only that, the roles that she had to play weren't even similar. She literally had to
change to a country accent and
absolutely she literally had to deceive whoever was watching this, and she did a hell of a job doing it because I didn't know who was who watching this thing. But just a quick synopsis, just to, you know what I'm saying, give a quick rundown. It's basically about 2 twins who since high school have been switching spots and switching roles.
Before then, I mean, we talking when they sister got hurt, they were like 11 or some shit.
Yeah, I said I didn't want to get into that yet because in the show they said that it started to become a thing in high school. You know what I'm saying? Like as kids, they did it just like, you know what I'm saying, amongst their parents and stuff like that. But once it got to high school, this is when it started to really become an actual thing that they would do. And basically they, you know what I'm saying, would share husbands, they would share lives. They just pretty much were super, super close, or so we think. And then, you know what I'm saying, they had a lot of secrets. And at the end, you find out that, you know, who you thought was the one isn't the one, and who you thought was that wasn't that, and it's confusing as hell. So you start off with the twins, Lenny and Gina. You have the husband Jack. You also have the husband Charlie. You have the sister Claudia. You have, I forgot what the dad's name was. But you have their father. Yep, you got their father Victor. You got the daughter Maddie. You got Dylan. You have Sheriff Foss.
Yep, and you got Paula, Deputy Paula, which was friends with both of them.
Martinez. Yeah, so those are like the main characters that you really have to focus on throughout all of this. So starting off, man, going back and rewatching this, and then I give mine on my first take on this. How did you feel? And you know what I'm saying, what were some things you picked up on? What were some things you may have missed? You know what I'm saying, so on and so forth.
Well, I definitely got a better understanding watching it for a second time around. Because it is and can be very confusing because
absolutely.
Like you really have to go into detail to figure out which ones is which, because in the beginning, I'm really thinking that Gina is Lena and Lena is Jenny. I mean, Gina. But then once you realize, like, I had to keep telling myself, okay, so the one that's in love with Dylan is Gina. So I don't care what's going on. Like, I know the one that, because there was one scene where they was kissing in the park, because when he had when she asked him for swimming lessons or whatever, she went to him as Lena. Yeah. And then when they was younger, Lena never fucked with him. Like, she always gave him the side eye and shit. Right. So he was like, yo, like, why are you even trying to talk to me and like all this type of shit? And so she told him, and then he was like, how do I know which one is which? And then obviously he remembered how she kissed. So he was like, that's when he was like, so that's why I kept it. Hey, remember what Charlie said. We gonna get to that. But maybe Dylan could. I hear what you're saying. Maybe it could be kept, maybe not.
They said their mama was the only ones that was able to tell them apart.
Well, the thing is, I think the reason Charlie knows is because of what he said in his notes. Because y'all twins, y'all motherfuckers can be identical. But what y'all ain't gonna have, y'all ain't gonna have the same sex game. You're not gonna have the same smells. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's what he knew that was different. He was like, yo, like, when this one fucked, she fucked like this. And then he was like, you know what I'm saying? This one smells different. Like, so he was able to pick up on that shit. But all I'm saying is Dylan could have. But I get why you say Cap. But
well, I don't think Dylan could have, because he was the side piece. That's why I'm saying that. Charlie, maybe. Charlie and Jack, I could see that. But Dylan,
Jack didn't know a goddamn thing.
Jack didn't know nothing. Jack was trying to hump on the little babysitter for real. They just didn't show it.
Like, this is true. But I think that, but what we was able to figure out was, you know, a lot of the flashbacks was able to give us things that it gave us little nuggets, and I can see why Gina had her resentments, because she was always looked at and perceived as the bad sister. In all actuality, it was fucking Lena the whole time.
Absolutely.
And the reason it was Lena was because of something that she saw as a kid, where she thought she saw her mother getting murdered by her father. And that was a secret that she kept all of this time. And the father always thought that it was Gina, the one that saw him doing that. So we'll get to all of that, but it can be super confusing. But like, that was the way that I was able to determine which one was which, because the only way you're able to even really tell, because like there are so many moving parts. And then when Lena had to play both, when, you know what I'm saying, when the one that we thought was Lena was quote unquote missing, it was Gina the whole time. So, but I get why she wanted to leave her sister, because it's like, yo, like we did all this shit all this time. Yeah, it's all cool, whatever, whatever. But then you also got to understand, like, Lena dealing with like the shit that she dealt with in the past, being the actual troublemaker, and then putting this shit off on her sister. But then at the same time, Lena was the one that was able to actually have a baby, but then she has postpartum depression and shit.
Yeah.
Gina fucking the one that was always being blamed for shit. She's the one that had the fucking miscarriage. So like, even though they're twins, even though they love each other, like there still can be, and I think that just made her resent Lena more, was the fact that they both pregnant at the same time, but I'm the one to get a fucking miscarriage. You know what I'm saying? You were the one that was actually able to have a baby.
It's interesting that you say that.
Because I think that, okay, so think about it this way. So you're the one that don't even really go back to your hometown at all, because you seen as the troublemaker. Like everybody, you know, she's the bad twin and all of this shit. And then so you go off and you create this whole new life, you know what I'm saying, out in LA and shit. And you the one, like, you just trying to have a normal life. You write this book and all this type shit, and then you fucking get pregnant, and then you lose the baby. But then the one that have the baby has depression. Like, I don't know. Like, what do you think? Why is it interesting that I say that point? Like, what did you take from that?
Interesting that you say that, because what I picked up from this was Gina never had the resentment. Gina was punch drunk in love with her sister, and I always felt like Lenny was the one that had the resentment, because it seemed as if Gina was the one always getting the attention, right? If you know what I'm saying, go back and watch when she fell off the horse with Jack, or you know what I'm saying, just I'm trying to think of what was the other part. I know one of the scenes was when Dylan first came, you know what I'm saying, in the town, and you know what I'm saying, he was at the jukebox and Gina went up to him with the jukebox and she was kind of staring at him and stuff like that. So it always seemed like Lenny was the one that was just like, okay. You know what I'm saying? She was selfish, she seemed narcissistic, and she seemed as if it was really, and what we end up finding out in the end, that all of this was really her doing. Gina didn't really want to do this. This was more so Lenny, the one that was like, yo, we, you know what I'm saying, we got to keep this going, blah, blah, blah. And of course, she was the one that was the troublemaker. She was the one that was always doing shit. Of course, she was the one that was responsible for her sister being in the little sister being in the wheelchair, so on and so forth. And what I understood from this all is that, or I'm sorry, not what I understood. What I think from this all is that we never see Gina in this whole show. We never see Gina, not once. In the present time, let me say, in the present time, we never see Gina.
No, okay. Well, obviously we see more of Lena, but we see Gina, but we don't see as much as her. Like the whole shit out in California, that's Gina. Like
no.
Before,
listen to me. I'm not talking about flashbacks. I'm not talking about cutscenes or none of that. I'm talking about for the main storyline. I feel like all of this is Lenny. From her having to play both sides, everything is Lenny. And now when you go to when I think back now in the first episode, when they say that supposedly Lenny is missing, blah blah blah, and we come to find out that this is really Gina, I think from there on, everything that followed that part of the story, from the missing to everything else, is all her having to play both sides, having to switch in and out and everything else. And this is all Lenny's doing, because even at the end, when Charlie's at the book reading, and you know what I'm saying, I believe that was Gina, the one that had asked the question. And then when they get back, he says, you know, you was at the book reading, and she was like, yeah, no, I wasn't. And he was like, I'm gonna find out which one of you it is. Yeah. To me, that kind of shows that this whole thing, from just the main storyline, no cutscenes, no flashbacks, none of that, has all been Lenny being the one trying to keep everything together, because I feel like everything has led to her. And as we seen, you know what I'm saying, she was able to get Martinez on her side and everything else. But Floss was like, nah, something ain't right.
No. See, I thought that too when I first watched it. But remember, you heard Martinez telling them what she is. They wanted I know Lenny
Martinez has set her up, of course. Martinez has set her up. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I wasn't saying, I'm saying the optics of it was that Martinez was on their side and stuff like that. I'm just saying that we know that Floss was pretty much on everything. I think Floss just didn't know who was
which one was which.
And I think and I think towards the end she started to catch on, and she started to realize that, yo, this may not be Gina. This might be Lenny for this whole thing. And as you see, like as you watch each episode and you start to see things play along and move along, you started to, I think, at least I did, I started to realize, like, oh, wait a minute, we may have not seen Gina in the present time at all. All of this might have been Lenny.
True, but like there are, because see, now you had me thinking, like, you're right. Most of the times when we seen Gina, it was, you know, flashbacks and things like that. Like when she was out in California, living her life, and she's learning Charlie and all this type of shit. All of that shit was like a buildup. It wasn't actually present time. Now, when we did see her in present time was when she went to the bank. So when she had went to the bank and tried to get that money, but she didn't have her ID because not the real Gina, but the one that was Gina at the time, because when they would, right, I know, like, we're making this podcast sound a little bit more confusing because, like I said, there's a lot of moving parts. So basically what these girls would do, and this is the whole reason why this shit even started in the first place. So when they was pregnant at the same time, because they stopped switching. When Gina went out to California to go to college and she wrote her book and all this type of shit, she was, going to therapy trying to find her own identity, because her identity was always tied into her sister Lenny. Mm-hmm. So when she's out there doing her own life, living her own life, come to find out, so both of these girls get pregnant at the same time. Mm-hmm. All right, so they both know that they're about to have girls, all this type of shit, and Lenny's trying to convince Gina to come back to Echo, you know what I'm saying, and raise the girls together. And she was like, well, I kind of like my life out here in California, all this type of shit. So Gina ended up having a miscarriage. So she goes, so Lenny has the baby. She comes to visit and she sees that she's depressed. And so Lenny comes up with the idea of like, yo, why don't we do what we used to do? We'll, you know what I'm saying? We'll live, like, we'll raise Maddie together. And like the way we're going to do it is every birthday, we're going to sit down. We're going to basically tell each other about the years, our husbands, all the, main events, friends, all this type of shit. And we're going to live each other's lives for a year so they can both be the mother of the baby. And it sounds super crazy because it is super crazy. Absolutely. Because these motherfuckers got careers. One got a farm. One is a fucking writer. You know what I'm saying? You got this child that's caught in the middle who is being raised, 1 year with her aunt and 1 year with her actual mom and shit. And like, you got two husbands, and it sounds cool. And it's like, because there's two different views here, because like we said earlier in the podcast, Charlie figured it out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. He's like, yo, like, wait a minute. Like,
he just didn't expose nothing.
Yeah. And he was really smart about it. And I like the way that he went about it. And I know what most people are thinking. Like, come on, you got the opportunity to sit here and fuck twins. You know what I'm saying? You just gonna roll with it. But he did. Charlie, he did. He did. Yeah. Now, he said that he loved both of them. You know what I'm saying? But I think mentally he was more in love with Gina because that's the person that he fell in love with. Like that was the personality that he fell in love with. But he noticed that there was a change. And when it came to Jack, Jack was oblivious to this whole fucking shit. Like he had no idea.
Jack, look, this is the thing. Jack was just trying to keep that farm going. He had way more other shit on his mind than who the hell was who. And when they had that conversation when he was at the when they were in the stables, and he was saying like, you know, they offered to buy the, you know what I'm saying, they offered to buy land. So when I took the foul, I had to take it because if I didn't, you know what I'm saying, we would have to sell land. And she like, yeah, but you know, Gina and Charlie, and he like, yo, I'm not trying to take money from Charlie, you know what I'm saying, and do all that. I would rather, you know what I'm saying, work as hard as I can to do what I need to do on my own terms. And that to me kind of showed where Lenny's head was, because it was like with them two doing everything that they had to do, she knew that if everything had come to what it was going to come to, she would have been able to convince Charlie to say, hey, you know, let Lenny and Jack, you know what I'm saying, let's loan them some money because they need to keep the farm going. She knew she was going to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Of course, Jack didn't know because Jack was just trying to keep shit going. And like you said, like, yo, I would rather, you know what I'm saying, keep everything going. And then I think she responded like, yeah, but the farm would be okay if we had 40 less acres. And he like, nah, yeah. I'm not cool with that. And so to me, that kind of just showed who Lenny was and what her whole thing was. And as everything had went on, you kind of seen like, oh, so she's always been manipulative, and she's always been kind of the one who wanted to have the focus on her. Like even going back to when they had the flashback when they was all sitting in the diner and Dylan had walked in the diner. And her and Jack was sitting there, and then Gina got up, like, I think I'm gonna go play that one song at the jukebox. And her and, you know what I'm saying, Dylan had talked a little bit, and then they started dancing, and then they panned to Lenny, and you seen Lenny face like who are you to, you know what I'm saying, like have some fun. Like I didn't say you could have fun. So it was like really she was the controlling one. And like you know what I'm saying, like we said earlier, like she put everything off on Gina. And I feel like Gina kind of felt that shit like, you know what? I'm not about to keep being the scapegoat. No pun intended. But she was like, I'm not about to keep being the scapegoat because every time something happens, that everybody's pointing a finger at me. And Lenny's the one who's getting to live this luxurious life and not having to worry about anything. And like you said, she got the baby and now she fake depressed and all this other stuff. And then here I am. I got to worry about every goddamn thing. I got to move out of town. I got to leave the family. You know what I'm saying? Luckily, I found a husband who got some money, so I don't really got to worry about that. But, you know, even to the point where when they was at the when they was doing a little like yearly meeting, and Lenny was like, yo, I'm so glad I don't have to fake right no more. And it was like, damn, like, what you mean fake right?
Yeah.
Like, here Gina is actually doing everything she's supposed to do on her end, and here you are half-assing it. So it was just like you seen Lenny for who she was, and then you seen Gina for who she was, and Gina really loved her sister. And it's not to say that Lenny didn't love Gina either. It was just more so I think that Lenny loved herself more, and she was willing to do anything she had to do to make herself, you know what I'm saying, be okay. More, even if it meant, you know what I'm saying, putting Gina in a bad light.
I think Gina loved her sister. I think Lenny was obsessed with her sister.
I wanted to.
I would say obsessed because, like, the reason I say obsessed, like, Lenny was more of like, yo, everything that I got is yours, and like we're gonna share everything. But like the thing is, when she saw Dylan, when Gina saw Dylan, it was because she was like, yo, I want something for myself. And Lenny didn't want, like, it was like she didn't ever want her to ever be happy. It was like she wanted to be part of her happiness.
I don't think it was that. I think it was, and to me, this is where this word pops in perfectly. We seen that Lenny was a narcissist. And because of her narcissism, she wanted the spotlight to be always on her. And she found out that by manipulating Gina the way she did, the spotlight can always be on her because she'll never be at fault for anything because nobody could tell them apart. So now it's just, if something happens, it was Gina, it wasn't me. Right. And so even when you know what I'm saying, talking about when Dylan popped up, I don't think that she wanted to be a part of that happiness. I think it was more so, well, why is he picking her and not picking me? You know what I'm saying? And because remember, when he came in, he looked at both of them. But since Gina went up there, of course, you know what I'm saying, they had that relationship. And remember, she did everything in her power to destroy that relationship because she didn't want, and this is how I look at it, she didn't want Gina to have a better relationship than she had with Jack. And since Gina ended up finding Charlie, she comes up with the idea, let's switch places. So now she also gets a piece of Charlie. So now, remember, because at the beginning of it all, when Gina fell off the horse, Jack had picked her up and showed her some love and everything else. And then what did she do? She butted in and was like, she'll be all right. She needed it to toughen her up. And then she started riding the horse all perfect and whatever. And then later on in the scene, you see her and Jack, you know what I'm saying, boning in the stable, which, time out. Let's talk about that. Okay. Who thought of this scene? Because this ain't the first time we've seen this. Who thought of this scene to bone in the stable? Has anybody ever really been in the stable? The stable ain't a place to do that, man.
No,
it's all kind of
smells trash in it.
Oh my God, thank you. The smell off rip, horrible. It's bacteria everywhere because it's horses everywhere. Ain't no telling what else is in the stable. It might be cows in that motherfucker. Who knows? And y'all smashing on a hay bale? Come on, man.
That's funny.
With the door locked, as if it ain't a big ass opening in the door and can't nobody see what's going on. So I don't know, man. That's just weird as hell to me. I've never been a fan of the smashing in the stable scene. That's just not something that I think is a good move. Like you said, just the smell alone. If you ever been around horses, or if you ever went horse riding or any of that, they don't smell pleasant. So to smash in the stable, you got to be a sick individual.
But I think another reason why, to piggyback off your thought, I think that Dylan was more attracted to Gina because remember, Gina was more in that goth lane. You know what I'm saying? Like she dressed more dark, and Dylan was dark like that. Absolutely. So like when you look at two twins, well, he's seen the personality of the way that Gina dressed, so that is what attracted, you know what I'm saying, him to her. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's how they went down. But the reason that was a long-winded thing for me to circle back to my point. Yeah. When we did see Gina, because like you said, that's a great point that you made. Like in live action, is when she was coming out of the bank to get that cashier's check. She couldn't get it because at the time she was supposed to be Lena, and she had Lena's ID. She didn't have her own ID. So that's how Gina, you know, she fixed herself up. Well, no, Lenny wouldn't fix herself up as Gina so she could get the cashier's check because she was the one who had the ID. Exactly. So, and then I think the only other time that we saw her is when Dylan was stabbed and she was driving the truck. Yeah. And also in the hospital. I do
not think that was Gina either.
Okay, hold on, wait a minute. Now you gotta explain this to me because Lenny was on the phone with the hospital and they called her down there to come get, because they thought that she was Lena because the nurse said, yo, we thought that you was the one that was missing. And so so she said, we called your family and they're on the way. And so she, you know, put her clothes on and then she walks out or whatever, whatnot. And then we see Lenny show up with Jack and Charlie. Because Charlie was there at the time because he came back. So you're saying that you think that she escaped the hospital, went there, faked the phone call, and then went back?
So what you got to remember is there was a scene in the show that perfectly explained it. And remember, Lenny was taking Maddie to go to swim classes. And old girl, I forgot who she was, but she was saying something like, yo,
the girl that said Dylan was a cousin.
There you go. And then Lenny had came back and said something like, I can expose you, or I forgot what she was trying to expose her, but I guess cheating or something like that.
Yeah, she was cheating because she was a lesbian.
There you go.
And she knew that she was a lesbian. Yeah.
There you go. So then old girl left it alone. So remember that whole time that they was showing the pool scenes, I think that was Lenny the whole time. Because remember, he was saying something about how you didn't like me back in the day, and now why you want to deal with me and everything else.
But that was really Gina, though.
I don't think so, bro.
Because, okay, I'm gonna tell you why.
I don't think so.
See, I'm gonna tell you why. Because all right, the reason I think it is because so when she saw, because when, in my opinion, so it's Gina's living as Lenny. So right. She's sitting there having a conversation with old girl, you know, everything is cool. Then the girl was like, yeah, she was like, my cousin is back in town. You know, he's giving these swimming lessons and all that type of shit. So now all of a sudden she wants these diving lessons. So she goes in as Lenny asking for fucking diving lessons. Right. So then they end up going to that bar or whatnot. So they're having a conversation like, why are you even talking to me? She was like, because we friends. He was like, we never been friends. You never liked me. So then when they went out to the parking lot, and that's when she couldn't hold it on no more. She's like, I'm Gina. He was like, quit playing with me. So then she kissed him.
That was Cap.
Man, okay. So then
the only reason I'm saying that, and the only reason I'm saying that before you finish, the only reason I'm saying that is because all of this has to have happened after Gina disappeared. Or quote unquote Lenny disappeared.
No. That was all of the stuff leading up to the disappearance.
It couldn't have been, because all of that ended up leading up to him getting stabbed. Him getting stabbed, remember?
Well, they was going back and forth. Okay, right. So check this out. So when they was so you remember when they had got into the confrontation, her and Meg, right? So she was like, I'll tell you another reason why. Because there's two scenes that is involving Meg. So the one when she was like, yo, I will expose you. She was like, I know you're messing around with such and such. I can ruin your life. So keep your mouth shut. So you remember when quote unquote Lenny went to drop the kid off at school, and then she saw Meg, and she was like, why are you even coming to me? You know, she was like, what's wrong? And she was like, you know what you did. She had no idea what she was talking about. That was Lenny and then Lenny is trying to, because she didn't know that Gina's Lenny got into this confrontational shit with her. So she was trying to find out, and this is when she was quote unquote missing. So
that's what I'm saying. This is why I say, man, like this show was so good, because to me, I felt like everything to that point had always been Lenny. Because you never really know, right? And even the fact that, like, how she tried to play it off, or you know what I'm saying, like she tried to make it seem as if she was Lenny the whole time, or Gina the whole time, or whatever the case may be. I never felt like, and I think I'm gonna die on this hill, man. I'm sorry, I got to. I never felt like in the present timeline that we seen, we never seen Gina except for on that video.
So you think the video, but you are convinced that we saw her in present time coming out of the bank, because Lenny was staring at her.
Yeah, because the video, right, was the one where she was like, you will see something. So she gave her some kind of confirmation. And then after that, and then the bank thing, and then after that, we never see Gina again.
Up until when she was at the house with her dad. Well, and talk to her sister. Because remember before the house caught on fire.
Okay. Mate.
Because remember, so she was talking to her sister, right. And she was like, and she was trying to tell her, she was like, "Yo, I wasn't the one that pushed you down," and she was like, "Y'all always treat me as bad."
That's what I'm saying. I still, and this is why it probably helps to watch it more than once, because I'm still not convinced that anything of the present is Gina. I don't think we ever see Gina. That's what I'm saying. I really don't think we ever. I think Lena is definitely playing it twice, and I think because of the way that the show is set up, maybe we don't really even see Gina walking out. I think maybe we see Lenny walking out because she got the wrong ID, and then she goes back and then has the right ID. And then that, right? Because I don't ever think we see Gina in it, because none of the traits that we see from this character has been of Gina, except for the initial episode where we are set out to think that that's supposed to be Gina. And then once we find out everything that's going on, I think this whole thing has just been Lenny this whole time. I don't think we ever really see Gina.
So you are also not convinced that when the whole scene of when Gina calls Lenny from Dylan's foster mom house or whatever, and get Lenny to come over there. Lenny goes in the house, and while she's in there talking to the old lady, she goes and she put the knife under the seat. You know what I'm saying? To set her up for Dylan's murder.
Okay. That could be her. That could be that she already did that, and in her mind, she's playing it out as if that's what happened, but she's already talking to her. Because remember, in the end, when everything is said and done, her and Charlie sitting at the window and they drinking and they having a drink. She says, "I'm not even sure who I am anymore."
True.
She says, "I'm not even sure who I am anymore," and that was my whole thing of and that was my whole reasoning of none of this is Gina. I feel like because of just that, her saying that, we don't know what the hell happened to Gina. I think she may have killed Gina, and we just don't know. Because remember, they said that with everything that happened, the body could have got caught up in whatever, the ravine or whatever they said it got caught up in. She possibly could have killed her and then just been playing both sides this whole time. And the whole thing has just been from her POV and her thought process and her imagery in her mind.
So you think that the TSA lady was just mistaken? Because remember, her passport wouldn't scan, and the lady was like, "Well, let me see your ID." She's, I left my ID or whatever.
She was like, "I seen somebody like this yesterday."
Yes, yeah. She was like, "You come back through." She was like, "There was a girl that looked just like you yesterday." She was like, "Well, I guess we got a twin out there everywhere." So you don't think that Gina was able to survive, and she ended up. The only issue with that. The only issue with that is the fact of Lenny had stole the fake passports and the money. Right. So when Gina fell in the ravine or whatever, what ID did she use to fucking get them? Like, did she use? Because the thing is, neither one of them was allowed to leave town.
Right.
So, what, she used her own ID to fly to, I think they said Kansas or some shit, because she was trying to go.
She was going to Kansas.
Yeah. So she said the girl that she saw the day before was going to Kansas, and she was trying to go to, I think, Australia or some shit. But so you think the TSA lady was just I thought I saw somebody look like you.
It could be possible that she supposedly caught a flight to Kansas, never got on that plane, came back, and then went to Australia.
Yeah, to try to set it up of like
absolute. But see, that's why I say, man, this show is so dope because it's so and this is just me overthinking it, of course, because I don't necessarily know. I have to go back and rewatch everything just to give it a second, you know what I'm saying, go around. But it seems as if this whole thing, and I'm like I said, I'm dying on this hill. It seems as if this whole thing is Lenny playing everything out. And everything that we see going on from our perspective may be Gina doing this or Gina doing that. But the truth of the matter is that Gina is never in the picture to begin with. And it's all Lenny. Because remember, Gina or supposedly Lenny, who's Gina, is missing. They don't never find a body. They don't never find nothing. All of a sudden, Lenny pops back up.
Well, okay.
Wait a minute. As soon as quote unquote Gina gets there, who is Lenny, as soon as Lenny gets there, Lenny pops back up again. And remember, this whole thing has been showing us just how narcissistic and how fucked up Lenny is. I think that Lenny killed Gina.
Okay, now devil's advocate here, because I'm on to play off of what you said, because that thought occurred, but then I kind of brushed it off. Okay. So the birthday party,
yeah, they both there.
Okay,
or what we think that they're both there.
Well, see, the thing is, there's no way to fake. To me, if that is the case, the case, I feel like this is where they fucked up at. Because if it's the case that Lenny killed Gina, then why portray the birthday party the way that they did, with them both being there?
Because once again, it could all be from Lenny's perspective, right? And from the things that we've seen through this whole episode, it could be that, and who knows, she could have been switching her shit out this whole time. Because we see them together. We see both of them in the scene. However, it could be that from Lenny's perspective, because of the way everything happened, Lenny is also picturing herself there during Gina being there, or her portraying Gina to be there. She's picturing Lenny being there too. So, I mean, I don't know if that's a solid, you know what I'm saying, a solid take. I'm just saying that just to me, it felt like, I don't know, man. It's like something about Lenny just didn't sit right with me, and to me, I think I'm heavily weighing on that ending episode in that last scene of her saying, "I don't even know who I am anymore," and it's starting to seem as if like she was having some mental lapses or something in this whole thing, because it's like, it's too many things to where you can look at it and be like, that may be Lenny, that may not be Lenny. You know what I'm saying? It's too many ifs, ands, and whats.
True. But like, and so another thing that it makes me think of, because like I'm going off of your perspective of what you're saying, right? Yeah. So when the last birthday party that they switched, and that same scene where she was like, "Yo, I don't have to fake right for a year or whatever," and she was just like, "Yo, like Gina, you seem off." And I think that the reason that Gina fell off is because I think that's Gina where it happened. I think that she was getting tired of like, "Yo, like I don't want to do this shit anymore."
And I think that's where it happened.
the only problem with that is the fact of Jack was pissed off because Lena was always gone. You know what I'm saying? Not, doing things with Maddie and being MIA and all types of shit like that. Like just not being as present. So the real
and why would she always be gone?
Well, the way they gave it to us is because she started fucking Dylan.
Or so we think.
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but it's just like everything that you're saying, like all of that shit makes it way more interesting.
Absolutely.
But it's just like, I think that for me personally, if they was going to go that route, I think that they gave us too much of quote unquote fake Gina. If you want to go off of that, because there's too many people.
I think that was the purpose of it, though.
I think
if you go ahead,
I think that you have too many people playing alone, and that's why I think that it would be a little bit too much. Like as far as like giving us all of the shit with Dylan, giving us, you know what I'm saying, all of the shit with Jack of saying that she's not here and all of this type shit. And like them showing us her, you know what I'm saying, waking up, which is fucking mad crazy, because if you're gonna be out here, you know what I'm saying, cheating, like you just don't spend a night with a motherfucker. Just like you just don't not go home. You know what I mean? Hey, and then you don't give us true, but like Jack just gave no pushback. Like no husband is just gonna just let that shit fly like that.
Yes, he is, because remember, his whole deal was trying to keep the farm going. So his whole mindset ain't even for real. Jack ain't even focused on her. He see, she ain't here, but he ain't really focused on her. He trying to keep the farm in their possession. Then Charlie, you really don't got to worry about Charlie because he in LA for real. So that's out the way. Now Dylan is the one that she's always been after, because remember in the scene when him and Gina was dancing, remember the look that she was giving and everything else, she was like, fuck that, why do Gina get to have this? And she was like, nah, she can't have this. And I felt like this whole thing has been about Lenny being jealous of Gina because Gina just so happened to be the one, but her whole thing has always been to turn everything on Gina and to make Gina seem like the bad guy. Because remember, when she first came in and back to Mount Echo, her sister was like beefing with her and shit. You know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden, she's quote unquote missing. Now Lenny has to cover the tracks this whole time. She has to cover the tracks of Gina because Gina just up and disappears, and she don't know.
No. Lena was missing. Remember?
No. Lenny was quote unquote missing. Listen, this is why I'm saying this. Lenny was quote unquote missing. I think that was Gina. I think Gina got away, right? Supposedly. But we later on find out that Gina never got away. Gina got killed by Lenny. I think that's what this whole shit is about. I think Lenny killed her and kind of framed it as if she got away, or maybe Lenny never killed her. Maybe Gina either killed herself or just left, or either way. I don't know exactly how that part happened. I think Lenny killed her somehow. But I also think that this whole thing has been Lenny through and through. None of this, besides the flashbacks and all that, none of this has been Gina. All of this has been Lenny. And I think that Floss was on to something. And I think Floss was finding out that, oh shit, none of this is Gina. I've been thinking that Gina's been fucked up the whole time. And to come to find out, it's not Gina. Is Lenny. And I think once they got onto the trail, Lenny found a way to get the fuck up out of there before everything else got found out. and then she ended up with Charlie at the end of the show.
Okay, so another reason why I think that it is the reason why I don't think that she was dead the whole time and we never saw Gina in the present is because why give us the scene of Floss going back and forth to different interrogation rooms? You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's way too OCD because I feel like
I forgot about that part. You're right.
Yeah, so that's why I never thought that she was playing both parts the whole time.
Maybe she killed Gina after that. If she killed her, maybe she killed her after that.
Yeah, because like that part, that's what I'm saying. Like you can put shit in there to throw people off, to try to make them believe that, but like to go that far, it's like, okay, come on. Floss is not going along with that because like she's going to both interrogation rooms trying to figure out.
But
but then this is another thing. Go ahead. So they had Lena locked up for the murder of Dylan, right? So Gina was sitting in there, quote unquote, telling them where to find her and all this shit, right? So remember, she goes in and she talked to Gina. No, Lenny. She goes in and talked to Lenny, and then she comes out and put Gina under arrest for the church fire.
Now, what if
that's why she had two people in two different interrogation rooms?
Okay, what if once again all of this was under Lenny's perspective? Because remember, when Martinez had talked to her, and she was like, "Yeah, she's trying to pin it on Lenny about the church fire, blah blah blah," and she responded, "That was decades ago." And remember, when quote unquote Gina got there, and she had talked to her, and she was like, "Yeah, you know, how can you come back after everything that kind of happened?" So what if those were also flashbacks of everything that has happened in the midst of also being everything that's happened with Lenny? So Lenny may be having flashbacks of what quote unquote happened to Gina, but what also is happening to her right now. Once again, this is just a theory. It's not, we don't know if it's real or not. But I'm saying, what if that's the whole thing of her being able to go back and forth and talking to him?
I hear what you're saying. And to do that, it would be genius, but I think, to me, in my personal opinion, I think it's a little too OCD. I think it's way too much to try to throw the audience off. Because I think what it makes me think of a little bit is it makes me think of Deja Vu a little bit, and it was just like, you know, like with the present day and the future, and like you watching something that they said that was a week and a day ago or some fucking shit, and Denzel the whole time was like, wait a minute.
But remember, they never really explain how far the times are. They never do that. They just flick back and forth between shit, except for like certain shit.
And like so in the scene where Denzel had the pen, and
I'm talking about it in Echoes. They don't.
Yeah, but I was just meaning like,
okay,
there's in Deja Vu, Denzel is all convinced like, yo, like I feel like I've done this shit before. Like all this shit feels weird. All of it feels weird. So he has that light pen, and she reacts to the light pen in the fucking shit that they're watching that was supposed to have been a fucking week ago.
Right.
And so that's when they had to explain to him like there's some shit where it Cohen, you know.
Yeah.
It aligns at some point.
Yeah.
So like with what you're saying, I think that if they was to do what you're saying, like I feel like if that's what that is, then Floss she knows more than they're showing us.
Well, because she had to, because remember, she had Martinez set her up.
Well, this is what I'm saying. To go along with your point, maybe Floss never was. Now, this is going off of your thing. Maybe Floss was just going out chilling for a minute, and then coming back and acting like, okay, I'm gonna play your game. You think this person thinks she's Lena, then I'm gonna step out and I'm gonna come back in and call you Gina.
Now we talking, cause see now you saying something, because maybe she understood that they have possibly been switching back and forth. Because remember, even in the book thing, when Charlie was up there, it was a guy who stood up and was like, yeah, you know, me and my twin, we began swapping that, and then it cut off. And then it went to the scene where he came in the house, dropped his keys, and then you see the shadow, and then you see Lenny pop up, and him and Lenny start talking.
True.
And then he was like, he said, I remember you like a little twist with yours, when he was pouring her a drink, and he gave her a drink. And so the only reason he would be able to understand that is if, you know what I'm saying, he kind of knew what was going on.
Which one liked the twist and which one didn't?
He may not have even known that. He just knows that one of them likes a twist. Because remember, the whole thing has been that once they meet up, they teach each other everything, and then they move on their separate ways. So because one likes the twist, the other one could have been going and be like, yeah, make sure you put the twist in mine. So he don't, because remember, he said, I'm gonna eventually find out which one you are. And she was like, sometimes I don't even know.
Yeah, you know, but I think the reason I think that Charlie would is, like I said earlier in the pod, even though they're twins, they do not, I'm pretty sure they don't fuck the same and they don't smell the same. You know what I'm saying? That's their own genetic.
That can all be cap, man.
Man, wait a minute. You're not gonna sit here and tell me.
Dylan didn't even know, man.
That's Dylan. Remember, this is the thing with Dylan though. Dylan had to leave town after the church fire. True. So Dylan hasn't been fucking her for, you know what I'm saying? Like, he haven't seen her for years.
And that's why I said that whole situation, that when he talked about Gina, you gotta leave her, and that could have been Lenny driving that fucking truck the whole time.
Well,
he wouldn't have known he the side piece.
That's why I think Charlie, in all actuality, Charlie is the mother. I think Charlie is the only person that could tell the difference between them. They don't get into it, but when you think about his notes,
yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now they showed us the notes real quick, but he's seen the differences. He knew,
absolutely,
like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? You're a little off.
But this is the interesting thing, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because now you got me thinking. The interesting thing is he is the only outsider.
Yes.
He is. You got a point. I'm with you. You got a point. Yeah, he is the only outsider.
So I think that at the end of the day, like, once he starts spending more time with her and having sex with her, I think that he will figure out, okay,
I said
you're Lena or you're Gina, because I don't, even though they gave each other, you know what I'm saying, these little notes, like they did these little messages that they sent to each other every day or whatever.
Right.
I still don't think that there's still certain shit that you do, like, that's just genetically different.
You can't replicate. Absolutely, I'm with you.
Yeah,
I am with you.
So
okay.
Yeah. So
I like that.
No, now your theory is dope, especially because if Floss is as smart as because she's a very fucking good detective.
Mm-hmm.
And if your theory is true, when at the time it was supposed to have been Gina, Gina, when she did the whole thing of what she did to switch in front of her, where she was like, I'm Gina, and then she did the whole tie-in of the hair thing. Remember when the daughter was like, you doing it different, mommy? So they had this whole thing of like how she tied her hair. So she tied her hair and she changed her accent. And so then she told her, look, me and her switched lives for a year. She was like, you really expect me to believe that bullshit? So ain't no way in hell.
Yeah.
So you said Floss is like, So I'm gonna act like this shit is way out of left field and I don't believe this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna leave your daughter for a year. You're gonna go be with somebody else's husband for a year. So you're saying that you believe that Floss acted to us like, get the fuck out of here. But she was really just playing along like, I'm going to make her think.
She's the sheriff. She would have to be because this whole time she's investigating. So she would have to be.
I see what you're saying. It definitely gives me a different perspective of like, of viewing it that way. Because I never viewed it to the point of it was never Lenny. I mean, never Gina. Like, Gina.
See, because my whole thing was like watching this as I'm watching, and I'm like, the more and more I'm watching, and then especially them last 2 episodes, I'm like, yo, maybe we never like that. That's the first thing that popped in my head. Like, maybe we never really see Gina in this whole shit. Maybe this is all just Lenny playing, you know what I'm saying, playing out everything in her head. Because at the end of the day, when everything comes to an end and we all see it culminate with her and Charlie, and like I said, I'm heavily banking on what she said. Like, she said, like, sometimes I don't know who I am either. The fact that she's able to go through that in her mind, just saying it out loud and having that go through her mind, like, maybe we just seen all of that from Lenny's perspective and we just don't know. And mind you, this is a limited series, so we don't even know if it's going to be a part 2 or we maybe end up seeing this from Gina's perspective or whatever. We don't know if it's going to be, you know what I'm saying, anything that follows this. It's just the fact of, for the time being, I feel like we only seen this through Lenny's perspective. Even though we've seen certain parts of where we may or may not have seen Gina, I think all of this has been through Lenny's mindset, her thoughts, all this, and this is all just played out through the POV of Lenny.
And one last thing. So the whole thing about her leaving the hospital and shit. Now, what she ended up saying was, when it came to like doctor's records, or I don't know if it was blood work or some shit, where she was like, yo, like, she brought up the miscarriage.
Yeah.
So we do know that Gina was the one that had the miscarriage.
But we also know that Lenny would be aware of the miscarriage too.
Yeah, she would be aware of it. I mean, we know that she's aware of it, but the only thing that they never show us to us, which would go, well, no, this would really go against your argument, because one thing, both of them got printed.
Right.
Okay. That is because that's the one way. I don't give a fuck how much y'all look alike. Everybody got their own print, you know what I'm saying? It's two things that you're given in this world: your fucking print and your social security number. So they can get the prints and figure out which one is which. That's easy.
Yeah.
But the other thing is the fact of the whole reason why she had to let, quote unquote, both of them go is because she couldn't determine which one did what, because she didn't know. Because both of them could point the finger at each other and there was no pinpoint evidence to put one to say they set the church on fire and one who killed Dylan.
Right.
So
now this is the thing. The church being on fire, is that in the same, do we know for sure that's in the same timeline of Dylan being killed?
No, that's different timeline, because remember when they was teenagers.
That's what I'm saying. So we never know for sure. Them two different instances. I think that the whole thing has been, remember, because I think Lenny is responsible. I'm for sure Lenny was responsible for the church being set on fire.
Well, yeah, they showed us an image of her setting on fire and that thing falling off of her bracelet.
Absolutely. Now, when she gets that, remember, she gets frantic. She also leaves early. She throws it away. She goes to talk to her daughter, and then she bounces. So we know that was Lenny, because Gina wouldn't have had any recollection of dropping that shit or whatever the case may be. She would know that was her sister, but she would also know that was her sister, and she would know who's responsible for the fire.
Yeah.
So with Dylan dying, right? I think that Lenny was playing the role of Gina. She turned around and was like, I'm Gina. Of course, he ain't gonna know for real. Like I said, he the side piece. Yeah, how would he know? He's been gone for so long. And so when that happened, and you also got to remember, Lenny has been wanting him for the longest.
Okay, so explain the scene where when Lenny was playing Gina, she had met him at the restaurant. She got in the truck and they went back to the cabin or whatever, whatnot. They got to kissing, and then he grabbed her by her neck and was like, "You're not Gina," because he knew Gina kissed different. Do you think she just got confused?
No, he thought she kissed different. Remember, they've been switching on and off. So you also got to remember that they've been, even though they may do stuff different and everything else, you also have to remember that certain things become, you know what I'm saying? Like, they also are picking up on others' stuff and all that too, while they're switching off. So she may have picked up on some traits that Gina had. Gina may have picked up on some traits that she had. So he don't know for sure. That's what I'm saying. I'm not taking nothing he say for nothing, because he's been gone. Like, this nigga don't know. This nigga don't know nothing about nothing for real. He talk about, oh, you don't kiss the same. Motherfucker, we in our 40s. Of course I don't kiss the same. I've been kissing a whole nother man. I've been kissing whole other men. I've been doing all kind of new shit. So that ain't no, you know what I'm saying? I'm not banking on that, man.
I hear you. But I do think that at the end of the day, even though they give us way more Jack than they give us Charlie, I think Charlie is the centerpiece of all of this shit.
Absolutely, I agree.
I think
now that you said what you said, I totally agree.
Yeah. And with him being, I don't know if him being, I think him being a psychiatrist does help, because I think that the conversations, but like
stress like Jack stress. So
but then like the whole, how much time him and Gina spent together in therapy and getting her to helping her with the book and all that type of shit. He got to know her from a mental side that he didn't get to know Lenny.
Good point.
And so I think that
did are you sure?
Hold on, no, wait a minute. Now remember, they didn't switch into the baby shit.
Or that we know.
Or the way that they put it. Okay, now see, that's too much, man. See,
no,
I think that's too much of a stretch.
Wait. How old is Maddie? She gotta be like what, 6, 7
or some shit. Yeah.
So that's at least 3-4 years of him also experiencing Lenny.
Yeah, but I'm talking about but I'm talking about beforehand. I'm talking about when she was in college, when she met Charlie in college. So from the time of college up until they got married, the way the movie, the TV series put it, they didn't switch until after the baby was born.
But you also got to remember, he also had them years of dealing with Lenny too, though. So by the time that book come along,
hold on, which book? His book.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. By the time the book come along, because remember, he still didn't know. That's why he said at the end, like, "Yo, eventually I'm gonna figure out which one you are."
No.
He still didn't know.
Yeah, you're taking my point wrong. No. What I'm saying is, from college, therapy, marriage, it's only Gina.
Right.
So he got to know Gina from that personal level of her finding herself in all of this shit. So then the miscarriage happened, baby born, then they start switching. So I don't know, let's say he got to know 7 years of Gina.
Well,
then they start switching.
You can't say 7 years of Gina.
Well, I don't know. Like, okay, so college.
Remember, When the baby is born, that's when they switch.
So yeah, that's what I'm talking about the time before.
No, I know that's what I'm saying. So regardless of whatever time that was, you also have to remember those times of, and this is the thing. This is why I'm saying this, because okay, so when Maddie is born, right after that first year, that's when let's say after that first year they decide to switch. So now you also have to remember that he's also dealing with her for maybe a span of 3 to 4 years. Right? He got Lenny for 3 to 4 years at least. So from the time Maddie is born until whenever that scene happened, he's had those times to deal with Lenny. So regardless of whatever he dealt with beforehand, you also have to remember that, because as you grow older, people change and everything else. So remember, he's writing down the differences. He's like, yo, this year, whatever, this year, whatever. So he's seeing some things change and he's recognizing a pattern, but in his head, he's like, all right, something is different, but he still doesn't know. That's what I'm saying, because at the end, he said it. I got to figure out which one, eventually I got to figure out which one you are. And then she says, yo, sometimes even I don't know. And she never tells him which one she is. So in his head, he's dealing with Lenny. And even though, to me personally, I feel like he knows, we know that that's Lenny, but in his head, he's thinking, this could possibly be Gina too, though. Because remember, they also giving information back and forth every time they switch. So he really don't know, though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. Right. You missed my point. What I'm saying is, when I tell you that he was the person that fell in love with Gina, right?
Absolutely.
What I was meaning was 4 to 5 years of college and married, like them get married, all that type of shit, helping her with her book, because remember she wrote a book.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, he knows her. Yeah.
Yes. So that's what I was talking about. That point. So then they start the switching, and then he starts to realize, all right, we've been fucking for let's just say 5 years, because they don't really tell us how long it was or whatever before the switch. Right. So you've been fucking a girl for 5 years. Now, if you're faithful and all this type of shit, yeah, you can spark shit up and all types of shit like that. Yeah. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, your smell is not gonna change if you washing yourself like you're supposed to and all that type of shit.
That's why I say all that could be capped, because we only see what we see, and we don't know if they necessarily, because she changes, you know what I'm saying, she went to go do with the body wash and all the other shit. Like, we don't know about all of that, and that's why that's why I keep focusing on the point where he telling her, eventually I'm going to find out which one you are, because regardless of if they've been fucking for 5 years and all that before the baby, after the baby, to me, is the most crucial part, because he said, yo, eventually I'm gonna find out who you are, because that, to me, that's an identifier of he even don't know.
See, you keep going back to that point, and I'm talking about before that point. I'm not talking about that.
I know. I'm talking about just to the point in general, right? Like, I understand what you're saying. Like, yeah, he knows her up until this point.
Yeah, right? Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Right. But we know that because of the notes that he wrote. We seen the notebooks and everything. But what I'm saying is, okay, that's solidified. We know that he's suspicious. We know he got some suspicion. We know this nigga is sitting at the house like, hold a goddamn minute. We know that. What I'm saying is, after the baby is where he gets back into the confusion.
I see what you're saying, but what I'm saying is, and because we know in a minute, but what I'm saying is, when they started switching after the baby, my personal opinion is just like, he's having conversations, and he's like, yo, this ain't my wife. I think these bitches are switching. So then he started doing notes talking about, because even if, because I'm pretty sure, Gina probably got a body wash and a routine that she does, and what's her name got a routine that she does. So obviously she starts using the shit that Gina got at her house, all the type of shit. Even if you do that shit, you know what I'm saying? When you fuck, you know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, getting it in and you sweating, your body odor is not gonna smell the same as your fucking other sister. Like it does not matter. What I'm saying is, I think
I think you're giving a lot of credence to this nigga. That's what I think. I think
that's exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, you giving this nigga way too much credit.
But the scene that you're talking about, I agree with you there when he says, "I'm gonna figure out who you is." Absolutely. I'm talking about before then. I'm talking about. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I think you giving this nigga way too much credit. You also gotta remember, but this nigga is rich. This whole time, mind you, and this is the point I'm gonna give you on your point. The whole time he's been writing these notes and everything else, he ain't called neither one of them out on it. He just writing the goddamn essays in the notepads about how 1 year she different, the other year she the same, the next year she different, the other year she the same. So apparently he don't give a flying F. You feel me? He going along for the ride. That's what I'm saying. So like and that's what I'm saying. To me, I don't care how much he's built up that equity with her. He still just don't know. I don't think he knew then. Because who's to say that they didn't? I mean, yeah, we seen that they was like, all right, we gonna start switching up. All right, cool. Who's to say that they didn't do it before? Because remember, it started in high school. So who's to say that it hasn't happened before? We didn't see that part where it may have happened before. We just seen that once the baby popped up, all of a sudden they just start switching up.
Well, the way that they tell us in the show is the fact of after high school, really after the fire, really, and like they graduated because Gina said, I got a scholarship to UCLA or whatever the case may be. She took the scholarship and she left, but she was like, that's when she met Charlie and started going to therapy and shit and started living her own life. So I don't think they switched anymore after that shit until the baby.
You are more than likely right. You are more than likely right. I'm not denying that. You are more than likely right. What I'm saying is all of that is true. Let's say all of that is factual and true. But to me, all of that could be cool. You know how your girl do this. You know how your girl do that.
Yeah.
You've been in relationships. You know at the beginning your girl was doing this, she was doing that, whatever. Later on down the line, man, maybe she don't do that no more. Maybe she don't do this no more. Maybe she tried something new. And you be like, wait a minute, where did she learn this from? And you get suspicious. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that two things could be true at once. He could possibly know her from college to therapy to miscarriage. And then after that, this nigga was just like, all right, something ain't right here. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, and he probably thinking maybe the miscarriage changed her or whatever. It could possibly be this, or I don't know. She don't smell the same. People change every day. That's what I'm saying. And he don't know shit. That's what I'm saying. He don't know a damn thing. He think he know. He don't know nothing.
All right, that's cool. I think Charlie's the superhero, man. Charlie figured this shit out, man. I'm sorry.
You know what? And because he's the only other black character, you might be right. niggas can point some shit out. That's all I'm saying. So you may be right. I'm not knocking it. I'm definitely not knocking it. All I'm saying is though, I don't think Charlie knows a goddamn thing. I think he is just as fooled as everybody else. And the only people that know what's going on is her sister, and her mama. And two of them gone.
True. This is true.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. Listen, this was a great show, man. You ready to do the Fire Flames?
Yes, man. Let's do the Fire Flames.
Let's get into it, man. Let's get into it.
Yoga Fire, Yoga Flame.
All right, man. So what you doing, man? What's your rating?
All right, man. For us to go on the rant that we went, obviously we feel that this show was a really, really fucking good show. You know, I think Michelle Mullihan, she did a great job, man. Playing two parts is very difficult. You know, we was going before we got started. We was like, I wonder, it's just maybe not necessarily double the pay, but at least, you know what I'm saying, got like a quarter more than what she would normally get for doing two different roles. I think Matt Bonner did a good job. I think that Detective what was it? Floss. I think
her
that
name
she
is
fucking
Karen Robinson. Shout out to her because she was also the lady in she was Ronnie in Schitt's Creek, and she did a great job in that role too.
yeah, and I don't think I hated was the accent. That country accent killed me.
Yeah,
I was like,
the way
come
she
on.
talked was funny as hell to me, bro. That shit made me laugh.
That shit was aggravating to me. I was like, come on. But no, like everybody did a good job. The casting was good. The story was good. You know what I'm saying? You gave me a very different perspective on this whole thing. But I think that this show really went under the radar, and that's another thing that I like about it, and that's another reason why I wanted to do it. But honestly, man, I think they did a really good job. Netflix, all that type of shit. I'm gonna give it a 4.5. For a miniseries, I think that the writing was really, really good on this shit. How they tied a lot of this shit together. How they leave us a little mystery at the end of like, which one is it? You know what I'm saying? Did she really show up to the book reading and just lied about it? You know what I'm saying? Or is both of them there trying to get Charlie? Like, that's something we don't know. Both of them motherfuckers could be trying to get Charlie.
Good point.
Or your whole thing of one is dead and she's still playing both or whatever the case may be.
A great point.
So to have these many questions and theories and all this type shit, how great the conversation we was able to have. This wasn't like a breakdown of a movie. We was able to have like conversations to go back and forth from different perspectives. I'm giving this shit 4.5, man.
Man, listen, for the reasons you just named, I'm giving this a 5. Let me tell you something. This has been one of the greatest shows I've seen on Netflix, only because of the fact that we've had the conversation we just had. Moynihan, she did a great job. I mean, really, everybody did a great job in this show. There was nothing to be left at all of this as far as acting goes. As far as storyline goes, they did a great job of leaving, you know what I'm saying, those loose ends untied to where if they decided to come back with a part 2 or decided to come back with a sequel for it or another season for it, they could definitely do that. And I think that that's dope because we still, well, I'm just going to speak for myself. I still don't know exactly what's going on. And to me, those are the greatest shows because when they leave you on those cliffhangers and then later on they come back and give you something else, it's like, I got to go rewatch this again. So it could be space to do that. The story in itself was amazing. Shout out to the writers, whoever did this. Shout out to the director and the producers as well. Shout out to the cast. Like I said, man, I'm giving this a 5. This one made me think. This one had me tuned in. I literally had to really pay attention to this, and I enjoyed it. I fucked with it through and through.
Good deal, man.
For sure, man. So we're going to go ahead and get into the next part of our show, man. You already know the next segment coming soon, man. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Coming soon to own on video and DVD.
All right, man. So the next show that we got, man, is The Last House on the Left. This was both of our picks, actually. I can't wait to this one. This one is going to be super exciting.
Yeah, man. It's a very, very graphic scene in here. And like, you know what I'm saying? But the way that this whole shit plays out is actually a remake. I've never seen the original version. But this version that they put together, the version that we're doing, the newer version, man, this is a really, really good movie, man. And it's really going to be interesting to see the perspective that we go off this. Because like I always say, the way that this show went right there just shows us how different that we are because we both watched the same thing and but we ended up having a different perspective on it. It's going to be interesting to see what you think of this movie. Oh man, I can't remember. I feel like not Wes Craven. I can't remember who the director was for the first one, but I feel like it was somebody that is considered to be a legend out there in these streets. But it's gonna be great to be able to do this movie, man, and hear your perspective of how you feel about it and all these type things, and just these people end up, you know what I'm saying, raping this girl and then popping back up at this at this house and come to find out it'd be the same house of the family that they just raped this girl. This whole shit is just fucking crazy. It's super crazy, but really gonna be excited to do this. This movie that we got coming up next, man. But go ahead and get us up out of here, man.
All right, for sure, man. Listen, man. So if you guys enjoyed this episode, if you guys think that, you know what I'm saying, Lenny was the one this whole time, if you guys think that Lenny and Gina was out there this whole time, if you guys think that Charlie just was a mark, you know what I'm saying, whatever whatever theory we put out there, if you guys think, or if you have your own theory, hit us up on the socials, let us know. Instagram and Twitter at ViewAnon You can catch us on Facebook, VA Pod Watch Group. And also, don't forget, if you do follow us on Twitter, make sure you hit us up and let us know you want to join that community so we can further continue the conversation. If you'd like to follow me, I'm on Twitter at Scoots Bronson. I have a link tree in my bio. You can find me everywhere else there.
And y'all can find me at s.foster8 on Instagram and on Twitter at 28 Minutes or Less Pod. That is just on IG. Follow the podcast, 28 Minutes or Less. On all major platforms, prefer on Spotify. Still on episode 124, which is Dear Mama. We'll have something new coming up very, very soon, so be on the lookout. And that's all I got.
That's what's up, man. Listen, thank you guys very much for tuning in. Thank you guys for listening. For those on Spotify, we appreciate you for watching. Until the next episode, like they say in Hollywood, that is a wrap.
Cut.